No one wanted her at the alien slave market, until a human said, "I will claim her." The market stank of fear and desperation. Zara pressed herself against the cold metal bars of her cage, watching as alien buyers walked past without a second glance. Her violet skin had lost its natural glow after months of poor treatment, and her once proud horns now hung with shame. She was different from the other slaves. Most were young and attractive, with bright eyes that still held hope. Zara was older, with scars marking her body from failed escape attempts. Her previous owners had labeled her as dangerous and untrainable. Nobody wanted a slave who fought back. The Korthax trader who owned her cage spat blue saliva on the ground as another potential. Buyers shook their head and moved on. This was the third market this month and still no offers. Zara knew what happened to unsold slaves. They disappeared into the deep mines where life expectancy was measured in weeks, not years. A commotion near the entrance caught everyone's attention. A group of humans had entered the market, flanked by Galactic Council guards. The lead human was a woman with short brown hair and confident steps. Her uniform bore the insignia of the Terran Defense Force captain. Amy Rodriguez surveyed the market with disgust. She had seen many terrible things during her years in space, but slave markets always made her stomach turn. The council had sent her here on a diplomatic mission to investigate reports of illegal human trafficking, but what she saw was far worse. Her eyes moved from cage to cage, documenting everything for her report. Most aliens avoided her gaze, knowing that humans had recently gained significant political power in the galaxy. The war against the hegemony had changed everything. Humans were no longer seen as weak newcomers, but as dangerous warriors. Then she saw Zara. The alien woman sat alone in a corner cage, her violet skin marked with old wounds, but her golden eyes still held a spark of defiance. Something about her reminded Amy of herself during her early days as a prisoner of war. The same look of someone who refused to break no matter what. Amy approached the Korthax trader, who immediately began his sales pitch in broken galactic standard. "This one very good worker, strong back, never complains. Much experience in many fields. Very cheap price for honored human buyer." Amy ignored the trader and looked directly at Zara. The alien woman met her gaze without flinching. Most slaves had learned to look down when potential buyers examined them, but Zara stared back with quiet dignity. "What is her crime?" Amy asked in perfect galactic standard. The trader shifted nervously. "Crime. No crime. Just normal acquisition through legal channels, as approved by sector authorities." Amy stepped closer to the cage. Zara backed against the far wall, but continued watching the human woman with curious eyes. There was something different about this buyer. She did not look at Zara like the others, had not with hunger or cruelty, but with something that might have been respect. The trader's voice grew more desperate. "This slave very problematic, always fighting, always causing trouble. Better for mining work than household duties. But for special, human buyer, maybe good deal can be arranged." Amy felt anger building in her chest. She had read the reports about Zara before coming here. The woman had been a respected engineer on her home planet before it was conquered. Her people had been scattered across the galaxy as slave labor. Zara had been sold 7 times in 2 years because she kept trying to escape. "How much?" Amy asked quietly. The trader named a price that was less than what most aliens paid for a meal. Amy could see other traders watching, nervously. The market had strict rules about pricing, but everyone knew humans had become unpredictable since their recent victories. Amy reached for her credit chip, but Zara spoke for the first time in weeks, her voice hoarse but clear. "I will not serve another master human or otherwise. Kill me if you wish, but I will not submit." The entire section of the market fell silent. Several guards moved closer, sensing potential trouble. Amy looked at the alien woman with new respect. Few slaves dared to speak so boldly, and none had ever refused a sale so directly. Amy smiled for the first time since entering the market. "Good," she said, loud enough for everyone to hear. "I do not want a slave. I want a free person willing to work with humans as an equal." The trader started to protest, but Amy held up her hand. "The Galactic Council has declared slavery illegal in all human-controlled space. As of this moment, this market is under Terran jurisdiction. All slaves are hereby granted immediate freedom. Chaos erupted throughout the market. Some traders began screaming about lost profits while others tried to quickly move their cargo. Guards from various species drew weapons, but the human soldiers were ready. Amy had not come alone. Within minutes, enforcement ships appeared in the sky above the market. The sound of their engines drowned out the protests from the traders. Amy walked to Zara's cage and used her command codes to open the lock. The door swung open, but Zara remained sitting in the corner. She had dreamed of freedom for so long that she could not believe it was real. The human woman extended her hand but did not try to grab or force her. "My name is Amy Rodriguez. I am a captain in the Terran Defense Force. You are free to go anywhere you wish, or you can come with me. We need skilled engineers to help rebuild worlds that were damaged in the war. The choice is yours." Zara looked at the offered hand, then at the chaos around the market. Other cages were opening, and slaves were emerging, blinking in disbelief. Some ran immediately, while others stood frozen, unsure what to do with sudden freedom. "Why would you do this?" Zara asked, her voice barely a whisper. Amy kept her hand extended. "Because slavery is wrong. Because everyone deserves freedom and dignity. Because humans remember what it feels like to be hunted and enslaved." Slowly, Zara reached out and took the human's hand. Amy helped her stand, though Zara was actually taller than the human woman. Despite months of poor treatment, Zara still possessed the natural strength of her species. As they walked through the market together, Amy explained that humans had established refugee camps on several worlds, where former slaves could recover and decide their futures. Many chose to return home if their planet still existed. Others joined the growing alliance of free species. "What if I choose to fight alongside humans against those who enslaved my people?" Zara asked. Amy looked at her with approval. "Then you will be very welcome. We can always use experienced engineers and warriors. The galaxy is changing fast, and we need people who understand both suffering and hope." They reached Amy's transport ship, where other rescued beings were already gathering. The ship was designed for carrying people, not cargo, with comfortable quarters and medical facilities. Several human crew members were distributing food and basic supplies. Dr. Lisa Parker, the ship's medical officer, approached them. "This one looks like she needs immediate attention," she said, gesturing to Zara's injuries. Zara instinctively stepped back, but Amy placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. "It's okay," she said. "Dr. Parker will only help if you want her to. Everything from now on is your choice." For the first time in months, Zara felt something she had almost forgotten. Hope flickered in her chest as she realized that these humans were different. They kept their promises and treated others with dignity she had not experienced since before her world fell. "Would like medical attention," she said quietly. "And I would like to learn more about this alliance you mentioned." Amy smiled again. "Welcome to freedom, Zara. Welcome to a new life where your skills and courage matter more than your species or past circumstances." As the transport lifted off from the slave market below, Zara watched through the viewport. The facility was being dismantled by council forces while freed beings were loaded onto various ships. Some would go home, while others would start completely new lives. Zara turned to Amy, who was reviewing reports from other liberation missions across the sector. "How many markets have you shut down?" she asked. "This was number 15, Amy replied, "but there are many more. The work is difficult and dangerous, but every person we free makes it worthwhile. I want to help with this work," Zara said, her voice growing stronger. "I know where other markets are hidden, and I understand the slave trade routes. My people were scattered across many systems." Amy nodded. "That information would be invaluable, but first you need time to heal and recover. Freedom is not just about escaping cages. It's about remembering who you are when nobody owns you." As the ship jumped to hyperspace carrying its cargo of newly freed beings toward a better future, Zara allowed herself to believe that maybe the galaxy was changing. Maybe there was hope for all those still trapped in cages. Maybe humans really were different from the species that had enslaved her world. She looked at her reflection in the viewport window. Her violet skin was already beginning to regain some of its natural color, and her golden eyes held something they had not contained in months: pride in herself as a free being, ready to fight for others. still trapped in darkness. The human woman had seen something worth saving when nobody else bothered to look. Now Zara would prove that faith was not misplaced. She would become not just free, but a force for freeing others. The galaxy had underestimated, both humans and their allies. That mistake would cost the slavers everything.